earlier this month, I got one of the craziest jobs I've ever had as an illustrator or in general. I was hired to draw live portraits at Lollapalooza, which is this huge music festival in Chicago. Lollapalooza started back in 1991. I know all of this because during Lollapalooza, I started researching it and talking to all my friends and my husband about it. Basically, it's a huge deal for people who live here. And as I found out earlier when I was doing this portrait drawing session, it's something that people travel to from all over the country and sometimes all over the world. So it started out as a touring fest and ended up like settling here in the city. And I don't know, all my Chicago friends used to come in high school. If I lived in Chicago, I probably would have come. I don't know though, because we had HF Festival and I never really went. I don't know. I don't really like festivals. This is my third festival that I'd ever been to. The first one was Riot Fest on my birthday in 2019. It was the day I found out my mom was dying, and she ended up dying like 5 days later. I mean, I knew she was dying, but it was the day that I found out that it was like really gonna happen. And it was on my birthday, and I was sobbing. And my boyfriend at the time was a huge kind of tone deaf jerk. And he was like, well, I have tickets to Riot Fest, and I'm still definitely going despite your circumstances. So if you wanna do something not alone on your birthday, I guess you can come with me. So anyway, that's a different story. Although I basically just told you all of it. Okay. So Lollapalooza, it's like more of like a mainstream fest. We also have a music fest here called Pitchfork, which gets more of the indie acts. And that's the second music fest I've been to. I worked it last year. I sold all my stuff there. And this was way better, although it was way harder. So I was approached by a really cool design agency in town called Eye Eaters, and they wanted someone to do like caricatures, like people, like you can go to like the Jersey Shore or like any sort of boardwalk situation or a fair. There's like usually a dude doing caricatures and he like draws your head really big. And then if you say you like roller skating, he draws you on roller skates. They wanted to play on that idea, but make it cooler and use an independent artist. Not that the caricature people aren't independent artists, but they didn't want it to be like cheesy. Not that those are cheesy. I don't know. I feel bad. I can't say anything. But like anyway, it was a cool idea, and I've done live drawing events in the past. I don't know how they found me, but so grateful that they did. So we hopped on the phone back in June to sort of hash out how this could work. And a huge issue with this idea was that we didn't know whether to make the portraits digital or physical. And they were leaning more towards digital because, I mean, it makes sense. People don't want to like carry around a physical portrait. And I was leaning more towards physical because I just prefer drawing physically, analog style. So they came up with this great idea. What if we put them on postcards, which I loved. So that's what we did. This was such a creative way to solve the problem. Basically, we got these blank postcards, had the concert goers fill out their address. I snapped a photo of them, and then they could go on their merry way. And I would draw them in their concert outfits, and we mailed them the postcards once the fest was over. I loved this solution. I just thought it was genius, and I think it's something I want to borrow for other activations. It ended up meaning that I got to keep all of the postcards during the fest, and I decided that it would be cute to clip them up to the back of the booth as the day went on. And it made the booth look really cute, and it showed people an example of what their postcard might look like. So because we were doing postcards, we ordered these, well, Eye Eaters ordered these blank postcards, and they're really nice. I ordered some to test my materials on ahead of time because sometimes the blank postcards that you can get have a lot of texture, or sometimes they'll be like glossy, and I was worried. I decided to use Tombos, and I was worried that they would run if the paper were glossy. So they sent me a link of what they were ordering. I bought a pack and did some testing, and now I have like a ton of these blank postcards, which I think are fun. So yeah, I used these and the Tombow brush pens. I got these two sets because they didn't have any crossover, or they didn't have too much crossover. There's like two colors that are the same. And then I bought a pack of, they sell flush tones, and it comes with like a brown, a lighter brown that has like a pink tinge to it. This is the same. And then it comes with this like pinky peach, and then this like basically white person color. I'm really happy I did this. I'm happy that I only had 4 to choose from. I know this is like really nitty gritty and like getting into the details, but maybe this will be helpful for some of you if you ever have to do like a pop-up drawing event. I've done them before in watercolors, but to do them in markers, I knew I had to do them in 10 minutes, each one in 10 minutes. So I knew I had to use markers. And I've used these Tombos a ton, and they have like a really nice color fill. They don't have too much streaking, and they're like vibrant colors. I ultimately like wasn't in love with this color pack, either of these color packs. They were like a little bit too bright. I wish that there had been more neutrals. There wasn't like a denim color, and a lot of people wear denim, obviously. So like, yeah, and there was no gray. Yeah, ultimately a little bit too bright. Like maybe picking one of these packs and then going with like an earth tone pack. So I bought 2 of each pack, 2 of the skin tone, 2 of the retro, and 2 of the tropical. And because I was worried, like I knew I'd be drawing a lot, and I was like, if I run out of some colors, I don't want to have to like run to Blick one morning before the event. So I ended up going through both of the skin color packs because the skin colors were used the most. That was good. So if you're ever doing a drawing event like this, make sure you have backups. It was such a nice thing to know I had. So yeah, that's about all of the technical stuff. I need to learn how to have like good transitions when I'm talking. Back to the festival. The one logistical thing that was confusing for me was understanding how I could draw everybody who wanted a drawing. And basically, it's impossible. I wasn't able to draw everyone who wanted one. But to keep it as fair as possible, I realized that I could do 5 portraits in an hour, or like 5 groups in an hour. And at the top of every hour, I opened up those 5 slots, and it was first come, first serve. So I created this little checklist and I put it on a clipboard, and I had assistants each day who could help explain it to people who walked up. So basically at 11 o'clock, we would open up our books for the first group of 5 or the first 5 groups who were there. And then once those slots were filled, we took their photos, and I went ahead and spent the next hour drawing that group of people. As people approached the booth, while I was drawing, we would just explain that the next round of slots would open up at the top of the hour. So people were free to wait if they wanted to, or they could try and come back. It got really, really popular. I was shocked, but I was also flattered. Let's keep in mind it was free, so lots of people will wait for free things, but basically people started waiting. At first, people started lining up like 10 minutes early to get a slot, and then it became like 30 minutes, and then it was like an hour. We had people who would come for like the 3 o'clock slot, and if it filled, they just kind of stuck around for a whole hour until the next 5 slots opened up. This is footage of people waiting. And I think sometimes people just got in line because they were like, there's a line, I should get in line. But some people waited in line because they really wanted it and it was worth it to them, which was pretty cool. If I could go back in time, I think I might have more signage to better explain the process. But because I had an assistant each day, it was pretty easy to verbal. And between the two of us, we just said the same thing over and over and over again. For instance, here's Hannah explaining it to somebody.
So these are free, but we only have 5 slots an hour, so we sign people up at the top of every hour.
Okay.
If you want to come back, 1, 2, 3.
Can I do like a sign up ahead of time?
Unfortunately, we just are doing them like first come, first serve.
Okay.
Just to keep it fair for everyone.
Okay.
People have been lining up at people might be here at like 12:50, 55. If you want to come back then, or.
So Hannah, who helped me on Thursday, Friday, and Alexis, who helped me Saturday and Sunday, basically just had to say that 500 times, at least 500 times a day, just over and over and over again. I felt bad. I honestly felt bad. It got a little bit more difficult as the evening went on. People did get pretty fucked up at this festival, which I guess you might imagine. I wasn't surprised, but it was funny. It was kind of like 4 o'clock would hit and something in the air would change and people just got a little bit weirder. There was one person who I slowly watched the drugs settle in, and yeah, it was wild. Let's go on a little walk of the festival because I got an hour for lunch every day from 4:30 to 5:30, and honestly, it was pretty impressive to see everybody. So enjoy this B-roll. That's right, I say B-roll now because I'm a YouTube pro. Enjoy this B-roll of the festival, and yeah, it's right downtown in the city, and the light was really beautiful right now. So. Now I'm going to show you footage of the postcards, the final pieces. You saw them hanging up earlier, but this is me flipping through at the end of day 1. I did videos of all of them at the end of each day. I would say I drew 280 plus people because I did about 70 postcards per day and each postcard averaged 2 people. And that was between 11:30 and 7:30 every day. So it was a lot of drawing. I got some bruises on my hands and my shoulder hurt. Did I have a panic attack on Saturday morning? Yes, I did. I had a full-blown panic attack and I cried. And I called Eric on the way downtown and I was really freaking out. And he talked me down and that was great. So shout out to Eric for being a great partner, and shout out to me for doing this. I blew myself away. Do I sound cocky right now? They just turned out so cute. But for real, big thanks to Eye Eaters for this. Big thanks to Lollapalooza. Big thanks to Hannah and Alexis, who were amazing support, and big thanks to my husband for keeping me sane.